Just two homosexuals, one Slytherin, one Hufflepuff, who unequivocally stand with J.K. Rowling. I could say that gay people should support trans rights because trans people are the reason gay people have rights, but I don't even think that's a good argument because I don't think these things should be transactional. I support trans people because they're people who are being dehumanized, and for what it's worth, the beast of dehumanization that you're feeding trans people to is the same one that's gonna come back and bite you in the ass, gay boy. Do any of you really think that the hatred we're seeing for trans people right now just exists in a vacuum? Oh, you're a cis woman and you think the ongoing attempt to strip trans people of the right to make medical decisions for their own bodies has nothing to do with you? Sure. Oh, you're a cis gay person and you think the assault on trans people's right to privacy has nothing to do with your right to, I don't know, have consensual same-sex relations in the privacy of your own home, something that was illegal until 2003? This is all part of a larger project to consolidate power for a very tiny group of people, which, I hate to break it to you, you are not part of. Not if you're gay, not if you're trans, not if you're a woman, not if you're a person of color. If you're not a cisgender, heterosexual, able-bodied, rich white guy, which you certainly aren't, it's coming for you too, honey. That beast that you're feeding trans people to right now, it'll happily eat you too. And to it, your blood will taste the exact same as all those blue-haired they-thems you swear you have nothing in common with.
So then the boat hit the Baltimore Bridge, and then the Baltimore Bridge collapsed, okay? And then the mayor came out and talked about it. You know, black people... No!
It's gonna be amazing when we're all old as shit and still having these sick-ass piercings. Nah, my granny has her bridge pierced. What? Zero gauge septum they them grandparent. Let's do this. This is gonna be fire.
Hi, there's no real harm in self-diagnosing and then realizing you're wrong. That's fine. If you do the work and you think you might be autistic but then you realize you aren't, that's okay. Let me show you why. The absolute worst case of realizing, hey, maybe I'm not autistic is that, you tried to accommodate yourself in a way that didn't quite fit. That's kind of sad. -1 point. But if you self-diagnose with autism or ADHD or any neurodivergence really and realize you're right, you get the best case scenario, which is realizing you aren't an inherently evil person and you actually deserve to accommodate yourself and lead a fulfilling, happy life. Plus a fucking Googleplex amount of points. It makes me so mad when people, if you self-diagnose and then realize, hey, I don't think I'm actually autistic, that's okay. That's not misrepresenting the community because you did it in good faith. There is a world of difference between genuinely exploring the possibility of being autistic and just using the label for ill-gotten gains. If you are doing the research and you're self-diagnosing in good faith, you will never be a part of the problem in my eyes. You deserve to be accommodated, especially when the upshot is saving your life and the potential downside is that you used some tools that didn't quite fit for you.
The desire to defend this planet against the giant space dog that wishes to consume us all is very noble. But by running, you're splitting the vote and letting the real bad guys win.
Before I ran, I had to vote for you because you were the lesser evil. Now I'm running, you say I shouldn't because it will stop you from winning. I think you only care about evil to the extent that the threat of things getting worse is a useful tool for ensuring nothing ever gets better.
You have to be realistic.
What does it mean to be realistic?
I don't know. People will tell you anyone can get rich if they work hard. Then tell you it's unrealistic to do anything about in-work poverty.
What does it mean to be realistic?
I don't know. People will tell you the richest country in the world can't afford universal healthcare. Then tell you you could afford a house if you cut down on coffee.
What does it mean to be realistic?
I don't know. People will tell you it's unrealistic to expect the government to do something that governments in other countries have been doing for years.
What does it mean to be realistic?
Realism is just pessimism in disguise.
What does it mean to be realistic?
People often say things are unrealistic when what they actually mean is they'll take a long time. The correct response is to point out that they'll take even longer if we don't start now.
What does it mean to be realistic?
It's about control. People will say something is unrealistic when what they mean is, that won't happen because I don't want it to, and I have all the power.
You wanted to talk to me.
Yes.
You know you can't win.
And realistically, you can't win if I run. So make me Secretary of Planetary Defense. It's the lesser evil.
What's the greater evil?
The creatures I'll bring to your door if you don't.
I don't want to lose you, girl.
I'm not a girl.
You're the smartest girl in the world.
I'm not a girl.
But girl.
Not a girl.
And I think I love you too, girl.
I'm not a girl.
Have you heard about the 5 neurodivergent love languages? Now, I'm not talking about the original 5 that we normally hear about, like physical touch or words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and gifts. These are 5 different love languages common in neurodivergent people, so let's go over them. Starting off with parallel play or body doubling. I've heard both of these terms being used interchangeably. I tend to be more productive when there's somebody else with me. They don't even need to help me, they just can sit and do their own thing. It's like being alone together. Their presence is enough. This love language is pretty similar to quality time. It's like a thank you for being here type moment, and it's very helpful. Next up, we have penguin pebbling. A lot of you know already that I'm a really big penguin pebbler. I really like to collect rocks, flowers, bugs, and if I like you enough, I'll give it to you as a gift. I've been doing it since I was little, and I only just recently learned that it's not normal. Not everybody appreciates a pebble or a dead beetle you found on the sidewalk. Penguin pebbling is similar to the gift-giving love language. My gifts don't have to be like $1,000. It can be something small like a cool seashell you found that made you think of me. It's like a, hey, I remember you and I'm thinking about you. Next love language is info dumping. So a lot of neurodivergents have special interests and hyperfixations, and we love to talk about them. I tend to info dump when I'm comfortable, excited, or have a burst of energy. Somebody letting me info dump means so much to me because it's like, wow, they care. It's literally so devastating when they're like, when are you gonna stop talking, or are you done yet? I feel like it's kind of similar to words of affirmation. Like, I'm here and I would love to hear you talk about your special interests because it makes you happy and that makes me happy. Next love language is swapping. I've heard it being called support swapping or chore swapping. It's similar to acts of service. For example, let's say I'm stressed about writing an email. My friend is good at writing emails, so she would help me write mine. And in return, I would help her with something that she's stressed about. It's an especially good balance with your friend when your strengths and weaknesses are opposite of each other, so you can swap a lot. Lastly, we have deep pressure, which is similar to physical touch. I personally am not a fan of physical touch or deep pressure in most cases, but a lot of neurodivergents are. Things like weighted blankets and hugs can be very helpful to calm down in cases of panic attacks and meltdowns. There are lots of different ways that neurodivergent people express their love. Bye, guys.
That's such a weird thing to say to someone. Be softer, be more feminine. How about lick on my nuts? How about suck and lick on my little nuts? Anyways.
A couple of days ago, I was hate crimed at the gym, and I'm going to talk about it, but if you don't want to hear about hate crime, then feel free to skip. I've got a lot of other videos that are a lot more positive about trans experience. I noticed these 3 men staring at me as I was doing my workout, but I kind of just ignored them, and I needed the bathroom, but I just waited until I was like really desperate. So I basically finished my workout now, and I walked into the men's, and one of them was like, "That's not a man," and then they proceeded to call me a tranny. I just kept my head down, completely ignored them, queued for the cubicle, and left it at that. And then I had to walk past them again on my way out. And then one of them was saying, as I walked past, "It's like she wants to be hit." Trans men don't go into the men's bathroom to provoke cis men into hitting us. That doesn't happen. We just want to use the toilet like everyone else. Anyway, I left the toilet and went and stood by the weights again, and then they proceeded to stare at me before they left. Trans people still experience this in bathroom spaces, and it really sucks. The amount of times that I've had it happen in club toilets mainly, because there's drunk men that are annoyed about my existence in there, is just countless. And this is in Brighton. I have reported it to the gym, so hopefully I'll hear something back, but you never know.
Nobody has ever really looked at me weird or asked why I'm wearing a mask still or anything like that, which I kind of find disturbing sometimes. Like, people always ask me, how do you respond when people ask why you're still wearing a mask? And I'm like, nobody's ever asked me that. A couple of people have told me that I don't need to wear it as if there was like some memo that I missed, but nobody's ever been like, oh, why are you still wearing that? And I feel like that is sort of like a microcosm of like the place that COVID occupies in our society right now. We all know it's there. Nobody wants to talk about it. And I find that really interesting because it's like people say that COVID is mild now. People say that COVID is just a cold, but it still carries a lot of weight. You tell somebody I have a cold versus you tell somebody I have COVID, those are 2 different reactions you're going to be getting out of them. Hell, even if you said I had the flu versus I had COVID, those are 2 different reactions. And you notice how like whenever somebody's sick, they're like, oh, I have a cold, but it's not COVID, but it's not COVID, but it's not COVID. Like, it's actually real disturbing to watch. And I always think about all those articles about like new health conditions, about like the increases in cancer in young people, or like the increase in like school absences. Like, there's no way that when you wrote those articles or researched them, you didn't come across COVID, you didn't think about COVID. There's no fucking way that didn't happen. It's like deliberately being ignored because you don't want to say it because the word has so much power. It's just a cold, but I still have to censor the word in my video or else I'm gonna get a little flag at the bottom telling people to learn the facts about it. It doesn't make sense. It's real weird. It's real disturbing.
We should improve society somewhat. Says the guy with the iPhone. So what? Socialism created the iPhone. Hey buddy, I worked hard for everything I got. And I think that you earned it and you deserve more. F you, I don't deserve shit. What? Capitalism is powerful. Yes. Therefore, it is good. No. But it won. So did slavery. We abolished slavery and will abolish capitalism. Capitalism isn't slavery. There's not much difference between being rented and being owned. I don't know. Kind of seems like capitalism is human nature. If you saw an elephant riding a bike in a circus, would you think that that's the elephant's nature? I don't follow. The advance of capitalist production develops a working class which by education, tradition, and habit comes to look upon the conditions of that mode of production as self-evident laws of nature. What is blood yapping about? Remove the boot from your throat. But what about the economy? Economy for who? I don't know.
Yeah, this isn't working. I swear, even just at this point last year, a grocery run for my boyfriend and I would have been like $150 and last about a week to a week and a half. I like to cook and we like to do takeout like once or twice a week. But now it's like over $200 and lasts us 1 week. And that's still us getting takeout once or twice. And we shop at Ralph's. Like the Kroger brand. We're not doing Sprouts, we're not doing Whole Foods, it's just the two of us. We do Kroger brand things. Also, we don't get meat. My boyfriend is vegetarian and I'll only sometimes eat chicken if I like order something out. We also do grocery delivery and have ever since COVID hit. We decided that that's like a splurge that we want to pay for, but it's only like $80 to get free delivery for the year through Ralph's. And then whatever you tip your delivery person. And you try to eat well, you do. You don't want to get just a bunch of frozen and canned stuff. But they're making it impossible. When you get items, it'll be like best by this date, but it'll expire before that date. I like to get a lot of salad kits and do stuff with them. Those will be like rotten and slimy like 10 days before. Fruit's all squishy and moldy. Why is shredded cheddar $8? They are pushing it to see how much we will take. I just can't. What are we gonna do here? What are we doing?
Repeat after me. All cops are bastards. 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 All cops. All cops are bastards.
Did you know buffalo wings were created by a black man? John Young was born in Alabama, but he and his family moved to Buffalo, New York when he was a teen. Before the age of 30, he had opened up his first restaurant and quickly became known for selling whole chicken wings dipped in his own version of mumbo sauce. But a white couple, the Bellissimoses, somehow got all the credit. They opened up their own restaurant about a mile away from John's and served chicken wings broken apart, tossed in a hot sauce. John publicly contested the Bellissimos' claims that they invented buffalo wings and said that Frank Bellissimos actually used to regularly come into John's restaurant just to eat his wings, prior to the Bellissimos ever even opening their own establishment. But due to racial tensions in Buffalo, John and his family had to relocate for about a decade to keep themselves safe. And when they finally returned, the Bellissimos family had successfully cemented the narrative that they invented buffalo wings. Thankfully, Young continued to advocate for himself and has since been recognized as the first person to open a buffalo restaurant dedicated to chicken wings.
Hey! I want to talk to y'all about something important and topical, and then we're not going to talk about it anymore after this. First things first, if y'all see something happen on this app that you know for a fucking fact I have spoken out against and I genuinely do not support and never fucking have, there's absolutely no reason for you to ask what my thoughts are on it. You should fucking know what my thoughts are on it. That's one. Two, the subject of fat phobia is constantly discussed on this app, a lot of times in a way that is unhelpful and unproductive. A lot of times in ways that is disguised as motivation, but is actually just bigotry. And by that I mean this. Fat phobia goes far beyond insults. It goes far beyond jokes about people being whales, cows, whatever the fuck you want to call fat people. And I've been called it all. Believe me, you bitch. The amount of fat phobia I've experienced online in the last 2-3 years would fucking shock you, bitch. In fact, it would traumatize most of you. In the same way that misogyny isn't just jokes about women making sandwiches, fat phobia is not just jokes about weight. It goes so far deeper than that. Fat phobia is literally ingrained in every part of our culture, our government, our healthcare system, etc. People literally fucking die because of fat phobia in the medical industry. So when people get on this fucking app and act like fat phobia is just hurt feelings, it's fucking ignorant and it's disrespectful for many fucking reasons. So if you yourself think that you're not fat phobic because at one point you were overweight, first of all, that's not the same thing as being fat. It's really important that you know the difference, because people who are overweight and people who are fat and live as a fat person have a much different life experience than you. So you cannot speak on something that you personally have never fucking experienced. And past that, if you don't think you're fat phobic, but you're upholding fat phobic rhetoric, guess what, bitch? You're fucking fat phobic. Sorry, don't know how else to break that to you, but 1 + 1 = 2. And last, stop blaming women of color for things that white people do on their fucking own. They did that with their own brain and their own thoughts. Believe it or not, when we spend time with people in real life, they don't always show us shit like that, okay? Sometimes we find out when the rest of you do, and then we move accordingly. That's it. Love you, bye.